Hey guys, welcome to another Cape Stunts tutorial. So, as you guys know, it's a physics video again. I'm going to be talking you guys through the importance of safety rules and the physics behind them. As we all know, safety rules are one of the most important moves if you learn in parkour, one of the first things to learn. Obviously, because bailing, landing properly is so important. Tracers, free runners, we take on a lot of impact. We need to learn how to control that impact. So one of the things that we use is rolling, mostly when jumping from high or from far, to reduce the amount of impact on our legs, on our feet, on our knees most importantly. So in this video, I'm also going to give you guys a quantitative example, put some numbers to it, and see what the consequences would be if we don't actually roll. Safety rolling has got everything to do with Newton's second law of motion. This states that the net force equals mass times acceleration. So when we're falling, there's two forces that are acting upon us. The force of the ground coming up to meet us, the force of gravity, which is pulling us down. So what do tracers do to manipulate this situation to their advantage? Obviously there's two ways of landing, I guess. Obviously locking your knees and your heels, landing with your heels rigid, which would exert an extreme amount of force, or landing and rolling. So let's unpack Newton's second law of motion to see how we do this. So the net force equals mass times acceleration. We can't change our mass. We cannot change the amount of matter in our body. The acceleration, can we change that? Well, when we land, we can. Because the acceleration, or deceleration in this case, equals change in velocity over change in time, or delta V over delta T. So we cannot change the speed at which we're falling because we have a constant acceleration, and on Earth, acceleration, falling in a vacuum, is basically the same as gravity. The gravitational force is the force attracting an object to the Earth. On Earth, our acceleration is about 9.81 meters per second squared because of the force of gravity. But what we can change is the time. In this case, it's the time that we impact the ground. If we land with our heels rigid and locked, and we land straight, the time of impact will be about 0.01 seconds, or 0.02 seconds. That is extremely small, 100th or 200ths of a second. If we roll, then we can increase that time of impact to about 0.4, 0.3 seconds, which is a significant change in the time of impact. So doing this, we can help increase the time required for us to stop accelerating. Think of it like catching an egg. If you were to drop an egg onto your hand like this and catch it, let me get an egg quick. Okay, well, I'm not going to use an egg because I don't want to break it, but I'm just going to use this. And this is the egg. So if we drop an egg and catch it, just like that, it's going to splat because the impact time is about 0.01 seconds. So the force exerted on this egg falling is a lot more than if we go like this and go down with the egg. If we go down with the egg, the time for it to stop accelerating is a lot more, like 0.5 seconds. In the case of rolling, the time required for us to stop rolling or stop accelerating, basically when we come out of the roll, which is about 0.4 seconds as I mentioned earlier. So let's make this a quantitative example. Let's say I am going to jump from a height of about 3 meters. I weigh about 70 kgs, so if I jump from 3 meters, so we want to work out my gravitational potential energy. Now it sounds like a very complicated term, but gravitational potential energy is mgh, mass times gravity times height. It's basically the potential energy that an object has. Hey my boy, hey dude, I'm filming now. Please, Rusty. Your gravitational potential energy. So your gravitational potential energy is a stored energy as a result of your vertical height, your attraction to the earth. Just before you hit the ground, your gravitational potential energy is going to be converted into kinetic energy. This is what we want to measure the force when we hit the ground. So our gravitational potential energy is equal to half mass times velocity squared. And our velocity is equal to the square root of 2 times our acceleration times our height, 3 meters, which simplified, actually not simplified, unpacked is equal to 2 times 9.81 meters per second squared times 3 meters. Solving this equation, we get about 7.7 meters per second as our velocity when we hit the ground. So the force of the ground, or force ground, or F ground, is equal to my mass times open bracket gravity plus my instantaneous velocity when I hit the ground divided by seconds or impact time close bracket unpacked. This is about 70 kgs times open bracket our acceleration 9.81 meters per second squared, 9.81 meters per second squared, plus my instantaneous velocity 7.7 meters per second divided by the impact time close bracket. Now, if I land with my heels locked, the impact time is about 0.01 seconds. Solving this equation, the force when we hit the ground is about 55,000 newtons. Ouch. Dude, this is 5,000 kg. 5 tons of weight force when we land, impact the ground. Now, I don't know if you'll survive this. You at least break bones, but you don't want to land like that. Remember always to land with the knees bent. If you land, bend your knees, roll over your shoulder and get out. You increase your impact time to about 0.4 seconds. Now this is significantly a larger time than 0.01, and so the force that the ground exerts on my body when I hit the ground is only less than 5 tons, but it's still quite a weight, quite a force that you need to learn how to control. So you need to master rolling. That is why you have to be able to roll. If you have not mastered the art of safety rolling when you land and you impact the ground, you're gonna have some problems. So just check out this video over here. I think it's this corner, or maybe it's this. This teaches you how to safety roll. You have to learn this. If you're gonna be doing parkour, if you're gonna free run, just check out this video if you have not before. Something just to take away from this video: whenever you land, or whenever you have a massive amount of impact, always try to increase the time of impact. This greatly reduces the force. So on one side of the equation, force equals mass times acceleration, and acceleration is equals delta V over delta T. We get force equals mass times delta V over delta T. If you increase the acceleration, your force decreases because it's multiplied by the mass. So that is why whenever you land, you want to make sure you either roll, or if you're doing a cat hang, bend your knees. That is why we think of them as shock absorbers. Think of as many pivot points as you can and bend them so you can increase your impact time. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Guys, don't go yet. Just if there's any terms you don't understand, please ask in the comments below. I'll explain them there if you want me to.